My name is Adrian, and when my wife's friends told her to leave our home for a week to teach me a lesson, I didn't bargain, plead, or play along. I did the one thing none of them expected. For a long time, it felt like a slow, steady drift. Maya and I had been married 7 years, but our story started long before that. We dated 3 years, most of it long distance. We visited when we could, called each night, sent little texts through days that stretched, and we rarely fought. The distance didn't test us the way people warn it. It made seeing each other feel like opening a present we'd been staring at for weeks. We told ourselves if we could survive distance, we could survive anything. What we didn't understand was that love, no matter how steady it feels, doesn't automatically train you for the daily reality of sharing a life in one space. After the wedding, everything changed fast. We moved in together for the first time. Same bed, same bathroom, same kitchen, every day. No pauses. I'd lived alone for years. I was used to my own rhythm, my own corners. The quiet little rituals you don't realize you've built until someone else is in the room. It wasn't bad. It just took a mental shift, considering someone else in every small motion, all the time. I welcomed her, loved her, believed she loved me the same. She moved to my city so we could start a life here. That meant starting over for her in ways that weren't small. We spent evenings combing through job boards. I sent links, she applied, and within weeks, she landed a role at a bank as a customer service rep. She was excited. She settled fast. Like anyone would, she made friends. I wanted that for her. I wanted her to have a community beyond me. It felt supportive, hopeful, like a solid base for a future we both said we wanted. When we married, we agreed we weren't in a rush to be parents. Ambition was part of who we were. We wanted to build concrete careers, save money, travel a little, and really enjoy the window where time felt like something we could still schedule. For a while, it worked. Maya thrived at the bank. Within a few years, she was promoted to lead the customer care unit at her branch. We celebrated at her favorite restaurant full courses, the kind of dinner that feels like permission to dream out loud. Between the main and dessert, I said, "I think we're in a good place. Maybe it's time we start thinking about a child." She smiled, then steered the talk back to her promotion and the team she wanted to build. I let it go. It was her night. But what felt like a one-time deflection turned into a pattern. Every time I brought it up on a weekend walk, over grocery lists, when we mapped out the year, she dodged or shut it down. "Now's not the time," she said, every time, with a sharper tone as months stacked up. At first I thought it was stress or workload. After a while it felt like resistance, not postponement. I didn't know it then, but that was the first real crack in the foundation. One Tuesday, I wrapped work early and headed home. I didn't tell Maya I'd be early, and I walked into something I wasn't meant to hear. She was in the living room with 2 friends, one I didn't recognize, one who'd visited once or twice. They were laughing. I said hello. They nodded. I went to the bedroom to give them space. The walls in our place don't do much to keep sound in one room. I wasn't trying to listen, but they weren't quiet. One bragged about finally blocking her second ex-husband, called marriage a scam, and said she felt free. The other said she was still seeing a man who, by her own admission, was very much married, and laughed that his wife knew but couldn't do anything. Called it a sign from the universe that he was meant for her. I sat and listened, stunned. This wasn't venting. It wasn't harmless gossip. It was poison, served with jokes. And my wife was nodding like any of this was normal. When they left, I waited a while, then raised it gently. I said I felt uncomfortable with the things I'd overheard. I said people who brag about failed marriages or dating. Married men probably weren't the right voices to let into a home. She snapped, accused me of spying, said I lacked boundaries, said I had no right to judge her friends. The conversation ended with a slammed door made of words. In that moment, I knew they were already in her head, and she didn't see it. After that, I watched her become someone I didn't recognize. Every time she came back from seeing them, She brought their tone with her, sat quiet like she was waiting for a fight, then found one. Out of nowhere, she'd accuse me of anything that fit the mood that day. She said I wasn't leading like a real man. She'd never talked like that, never hinted at it. It felt like someone handed her a checklist of resentments to work through. One night she came home late, stepped through the door with the smell of heavy drinking around her. That wasn't her. She wasn't the weeknight party type. I asked gently, "Are you okay? This isn't like you." She exploded, said I was trying to cage her, that I was threatened by her freedom, that I wanted to keep her small. Then words I can't forget. She said I was trying to ruin her body by pushing for a child, trap her in motherhood while I stayed free. I stood there stunned. She turned and left the room. After that, things went colder. We were roommates with a shared mailing address. She left for work without a word, came home and went straight to the bedroom. When I tried to start a conversation, she gave me one-word answers or stared past me. My presence irritated her. I gave space and hoped it was a phase. Days passed into a week. Silence settled in like a new tenant. The warmth that made our place feel like a home was gone. Tension lived where we did. One morning, before sunrise, I walked into the hallway and saw her by the closet, zipping a small travel bag. There'd been no plan, no talk about a trip. "Where are you going?" I asked. She kept folding shirts. "I'm staying with a friend for a while," she said. "Why?" "Our marriage isn't working the way it should," she said. "We need some time apart. A week." We hadn't talked much that week. Things were off, yes. But this, I tried to reason with her. I said every relationship hits rough patches. You don't fix that by walking out. I offered therapy, something we'd never tried. I said I'd sit with a professional, do the hard work, if we could save what we built. She didn't flinch. She shook her head. "We need a break," she repeated. "A week." She walked out without looking back. The door clicked shut. Something tight in my chest held on. I couldn't pretend it was a normal day. I called in sick. My boss gave me a couple of days. I sat with the quiet and replayed everything. Moments, arguments, red flags I'd let slide because I wanted to keep the picture whole. This wasn't space to reflect. It was a pattern. I loved her, but I couldn't ignore what she was showing me. If she could leave this easily and refuse a single step toward fixing it, then there was nothing left to save. I opened my laptop and searched for a divorce lawyer. Divorce was never supposed to be in our story. I thought we'd be one of those couples who fought and found a way back, grew old side by side. There's a point where love stops being enough, where disrespect, distance, and manipulation take its place, and staying becomes a slow erosion. I found a lawyer with strong reviews and booked an appointment for the next morning. I barely slept. He didn't sugarcoat. He walked me through the process, division, timelines, service, and the emotional toll that tends to follow. I gave the go-ahead and told him to file. On the 5th day of her being gone, she got the papers. Within hours, she messaged me, said I was bluffing, said it was manipulation to make her come back. I stared at the screen, then typed, "I'm not bluffing. The marriage is over." No argument left in me. I'd spent years holding the relationship together by the edges. That evening I got home, tired, shoes still on, and saw her in the living room. When our eyes met, she rushed toward me like she was relieved I'd still come back at all. "I didn't think you'd actually go through with it," she said, voice shaky. I didn't answer right away. She kept going, asked me to withdraw the filing, said we could fix it if I just gave it time. Whatever engine drove me for years had shut down. "You walking out of this house was the last straw," I said, looking at her. "This marriage is done." I walked past her. She didn't follow then. Later, when I sat in the backyard trying to empty my head, she came outside and sat beside me. This time, she wasn't defensive. In a softer voice, she said it. It was her friend's idea. They told her that if she disappeared for a week, I'd crawl back and stop asking about a baby. I laughed, not with joy, but at how ridiculous and sad it was that she listened. Now you're free, I said. Go be with your friends. Maybe they'll help you get through the divorce, too. She broke down, grabbed for my hand, said she didn't want to be like them, didn't want to end up divorced, bitter and alone, said none of it was supposed to go this way. My mind was made. If you're willing to hurt your husband to impress people who couldn't hold their own marriages together, I said, you don't deserve to have one either. She kept begging through days that followed. I didn't budge. If she could walk out that easily once, she could do it again. The process took time. By the time we signed and the decree came back, I'd already moved on inside myself. Her messages didn't stop. Calls at odd hours, surprise door knocks, little apologies that tried to rewrite chapters. I didn't hate her. I simply understood that loving someone doesn't mean tolerating repeated disrespect, especially when they don't think there's anything wrong with it. Eventually, the court made it official. The marriage dissolved. We divided what was shared. I won't pretend I'm happy about the way it ended. Nobody marries thinking one day a spouse will walk out because friends said it would teach a lesson. It hurt. But relief, even thin, is better than sadness that stays. I don't come home to silence that punishes or passive-aggressive remarks that grind. I don't have to wake up wondering which version of her I'll get. The partner I fell in love with, or the stranger her friends trained her to be. If this lands with someone who's in the middle of the same storm, hear this. You're not crazy, and you're not asking for too much. A relationship is between two people. Not 3, not 4, not a panel of friends cheering for your failure because they couldn't hold their own. A spouse who lets outsiders poison the house doesn't deserve the trust that marriage requires. When someone chooses toxic company over commitment, believe them. Then protect your peace. Thank you for listening.